Welcome back, America. I'm Hugh Hewitt. It's November 21st, 2025, and Matt Continetti is my guest. Matt, there's a bear behind you. Did you go out and kill a bear to celebrate moving to the Wall Street Journal? What is that?
I think that bear you're referring to, Hugh, is the bank of the Potomac River in this wonderful AEI scene I have behind me. But I always love your interest in my backgrounds. I think you pay particular attention to my backgrounds as opposed to the other guests you have on your show.
I do, because they're always that looks like a bear that you went out and shot. When you,
so Johnny, if I move this way, you'll see AEI. Maybe that'd be better.
Tell me something. Congratulations on the move to the Wall Street Journal. What is your new duty over there?
Well, I'll be writing columns for the Wall Street Journal. I'll be part of a new expansion that the Journal editorial page is undertaking, and which will launch soon. And in the meantime, I'm writing pieces regularly for the paper. I should have one in the Weekend Journal coming out pretty soon.
I'm excited about that. Say hello to Jack Butler, Hugh Hewitt Show intern extraordinaire many years ago, Hillsdale grad, good friend of the program. So we're stacking the Journal. Now I want to do the first 2028 conversation of the cycle with Matt Continetti, because Axios reported yesterday that Senator Ted Cruz is, quote, laying the groundwork for a 2028 presidential bid by leaning into his feud with Tucker Carlson, by poking fun at Carlson's isolationist foreign policy view, accusing him of anti-Semitism, and more. Cruz is putting himself on a collision course with Vice President Vance. Now, Matt, Vice Presidents don't get free passes. Mondale got challenged by Hart. Quayle did not make it out of the starting gates in 00. H.W. Bush, when it came time to succeed Ronald Reagan, got challenged by Bob Dole. Do you expect a full and fair, robust set of primaries?
I think we'll have primaries. I don't know how robust they will be. H.W., Reagan's vice president, did elicit several competitors in 1988, and he was the front runner, and he ended up with the nomination and, of course, the presidency. Al Gore, in 1999, as he laid the framework to succeed Bill Clinton, he also elicited a challenge from Senator Bill Bradley. Gore was a frontrunner at the start. He ended up with the nomination, of course, lost to George W. Bush. So I do think that J.D. Vance is the prohibitive favorite for the Republican nomination in 2028. But I also expect that we'll see challenges, whether it's from Senator Cruz or whether it's from Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, or who knows, might lay a groundwork for a challenge against J.D. Vance.
Now, of my short list, I have Cruz now on it, Rubio sort of on it, depending on what Donald Trump says, maybe Governor DeSantis back for the second time around the track, maybe Senator Cotton, maybe former Secretary Pompeo. Is there anyone else you list as a maybe?
No, I think that about does it. A lot depends on what the situation is, Hugh, a year from now, after the midterms, and depending on the relative strength of President Trump, and that means the strength of J.D. Vance, you might get more figures into the race. Josh Hawley of Missouri, of course, the senator, has presidential ambitions. He says he's not going to run in 2028, but if something changes, someone like Hawley may well throw his hat into the ring as well.
And I neglected to mention Glenn Youngkin. There have got to be governors out there besides Governor Youngkin as well. Let me move to story number 2. Yesterday was the saying farewell to Vice President Dick Cheney at the National Cathedral. Very moving ceremony. The old guard, the people who have been part of the country's history for a very long time. He was remembered as a very serious, tough, and loyal man who did his one job very well, whether it was SecDef or number 2 to W. Bush. Now the question, have you watched Death by Lightning yet?
I have not. It's on my watch list. I'm too busy writing for the Wall Street Journal.
Well, in Death by Lightning, one of the characters, it's a fabulous 4-part series about the assassination.
I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely great. Candace Millard wrote a great book, and my wife and I inhaled it years ago. And when my son told me it had been made into a book, into a series, I didn't know how Netflix could do it, but they did it. But in the course of that, one of the characters that will remain nameless asks, will history remember me? And what I'm going to get from Matt during the break is, who will history remember? That's 145 years ago, 1880, 1881. So 145 years from now, in sometime around 2150, Who exactly will history be recording as having been significant in the era of which we are part? I'll be right back with Matt Continetti. So I'm back with Matt Continetti. Matt, who matters in 150 years from now? Who will be the subject of whatever is Netflix on whatever platform exists in 150 years?
Well, I think it's heads of state. So obviously President Trump will be remembered 150 years from now. Vladimir Putin 150 years from now. Xi Jinping, and probably Erdogan of Turkey. I think those are probably the figures who are going to have the longest lasting impression in the histories.
Erdogan is interesting. That's on my list for the next subject here because Saudi Arabia has been in town this week and traffic's been a nightmare with the Crown Prince being here. Who's more important to our future, Erdogan or the Crown Prince?
Well, I think they're connected, Hugh. I think they're both connected. Erdogan's Turkey is a growing power. He is increasing his influence in the Middle East. That's part of the Syria play. He's also increasing his opposition to Israel. And so I think becoming a node in the next version of the anti-Israel network in the Middle East. And so that's why we need allies like Saudi Arabia. We need Saudi Arabia to balance out forces like Iran, but also potentially forces like Turkey. And so I think we do need MBS, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, on America's side. You know, we've had a long relationship with the Saudis in the United States. It's never been pretty, never. But it's of necessity, and I think the necessity continues. In some cases, that's because of oil. Not so much anymore because President Trump has made us energy independent, though our allies still need oil from the Middle East. But I think right now it's about investment, and especially investment in these data centers and factories that are going to make the chips and increase our technological edge and self-sufficiency over China.
Now, I keep hoping someday Erdogan will revert to the mean of Ataturk and be secular. Highly unlikely. Are they really an ally?
Well, sometimes it's very hard to tell. And there are powers like this, of course. You talk about Qatar, one of the Gulf states, that plays the role of an American ally, houses American troops, and yet also is very friendly with Iran, of course, a supporter of Hamas and the Muslim Brotherhood. Erdogan's Turkey is somewhat similar. It means that we can work with them on some issues, but we also need to be very careful about the technology that we provide Erdogan's Turkey, about the financial incentives we give them. They're a major power. They need to be respected, but they also need to be watched very carefully.
I think we will be doing that. I'll be right back with Matt Continetti on the other side. Don't go anywhere, America. I'm Hugh Hewitt. Welcome back, America. I'm Hugh Hewitt, joined by Matt Continetti, Senior Fellow at American Enterprise Institute, columnist for the Wall Street Journal. Matt, I want to play for you in the audience a 90-second video of 6 Democrats. Their message has become quite controversial, elicited a strong response from President Trump. Here is that video.
I'm Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly.
Representative Chris Deluzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman Jason Crow.
I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy.
Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
and the intelligence community
who take risks each day
to keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk.
This administration is pitting our uniformed military
and intelligence community professionals
against American citizens.
Like us. You all swore an oath
to protect and defend this Constitution.
Right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad,
but from right here at home.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law
or our Constitution.
We know this is hard,
and that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
the Army,
or Navy,
the Air Force,
your vigilance is critical.
And know that we have your back.
Because now, more than ever,
the American people need you.
We need you to stand up for our laws,
our Constitution,
and who we are as Americans. Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up the ship.
Matt Connetti, Don't Give Up the Ship is famously associated with the Battle of Lake Erie, in which the Buckeyes took an entire British squadron in the War of 1812. But what this is about, it's an outrageous video, and it fried me because it says the threats are right here at home to our Constitution. Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders. What do you think they were trying to say?
I think what they were trying to say was that Donald Trump is either already ordering the military and intelligence community to do illegal things or is about to order the military and the intelligence community to do illegal things. I think it's an example of gaslighting. None of the legislators involved have been able to point to a single unlawful order this president has given. This president has obeyed court orders when he's told that he needs to stop a process, or most of the time he's allowed to do it as those processes work up to the Supreme Court. And so I think it lacks evidence. I think it uses the same rhetoric, this enemy within rhetoric, that the Democrats condemn whenever Donald Trump uses it. And I also think it puts the troops in a very awkward position. If the legislators are so concerned, what are they doing? Why is the onus on the individual soldier or case officer? It should be Congress that should be raising the alarm and trying to stop the president. So I think it's both kind of imposing on our troops and condescending to them at the same time. I think it's a very inflammatory and disturbing exercise.
Wildly irresponsible. There are 1.3 million people in uniform. There's going to be a least bright member of the 1.3 million. There's going to be a Gomer pile. And you show that to the wrong person, and they are going to feel empowered. And when they say, we've got your back, no, they don't. They don't have anybody's back. They're legislators.
Here's what kind of got my attention. I have nothing but respect for our troops, for our uniformed soldiers, and for our intelligence officers. But I'd also know that the intelligence community, when it comes to Donald Trump, has not behaved responsibly over the past decade.
Correct.
And so when I hear Alexis Slotkin say, I have your back, I kind of hear, hey, next Vindman, next whistleblower who wants to do something to screw up Trump in his last 2 years in office, we're right there waiting for you. Not to the troops necessarily, but to the people who are opposed to this president working in the FBI and the CIA. That's kind of what got my attention. And again, eliding that distinction between them and the uniformed soldiers who are trained to disobey unlawful orders. This is not anything our soldiers don't already know, which makes the whole exercise even more egregious to me.
The most interesting story is whose idea was it, and how did they persuade otherwise apparently smart people to join in? Because while Donald Trump exploded on Truth Social and they're trying to make themselves victim now, the reality is it was profoundly irresponsible. Last topic, the AI bubble. The sell-off has stopped in NVIDIA and Palantir as of this hour. The AI trade is not as stinky as it's been for 3 weeks. But what do you think, Matt? That was a very weird 3 weeks we've been through when both NVIDIA and Palantir report earnings that blow the socks off any other company, and their stock goes down.
Well, Hugh, I'm the very definition of a passive long-term investor, so I'm not going to go Jim Cramer on you with any insight or lack thereof into the stock market. But I will say that even if there is an AI bubble, AI is still a transformative technology. And these companies are different than kind of the companies during the dot-com boom, which I remember, where you'd have a website but no income and still get a high stock evaluation. What I think is more important politically is the way in which voters are interacting with this economy. And because of the prices and because of interest rates, you have this widespread feeling among many American voters, especially kind of the low propensity parts of the Trump coalition, that this economy is not working for them. And that unless President Trump and the Republicans address that, they're in for a very difficult midterm election in 2026.
So, Matt, last question. If there is an AI bubble and it deflates and it leaves some people with big losses on paper, who gets blamed? Because it's really got nothing to do with political people. It's got to do with market forces and getting over your skis. Do the Republicans still get splattered?
Yes. I have a rule. If Republicans are in power, they get blamed for everything. So, yes.
Yep. They cannot immunize themselves. They can talk about it as much as they want, but they're not going to escape the Grim Reaper if the market continues its march south next week. Matt Continetti, follow him on X at Continetti. Read him in the Wall Street Journal. Congratulations